welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and I talk about faith, culture, and relationships on this channel, specifically related to Arabic culture and relationships. I want to share something that I wasn't aware of before I met my husband and moved to Jordan that I found very unique and interesting as an American, because it's different here in the US how we do something as simple as names. If you're American or familiar with American culture, the way that we structure our names are you have a first name, a middle name, and a last name. And everything except for your last name is kind of handpicked by your parents. They can choose any name that they want because they like the sound of it, they like the way it looks when it's written. Maybe it's a family name, your grandmother had that name, and they just want to give a little bit of a nod to somebody in their family, show a little bit of respect by giving their child a family member's name. So by and large, this is the structure for all American names. It changes a little bit sometimes when women get married, like their last name, their maiden last name may become their middle name, but that's another story. But anyways, in Jordan, it is not this way. And I'm assuming, though I don't know for sure, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably the same in other Arab countries that names are structured very focused on family. And it's this way for everyone in Jordan. So let me explain. My husband's name is Jawad Yaqub Saliba Shehadeh. His first name, handpicked by his parents. His first middle name is his father's first name. His father's name was Yaqub. And then his grandfather's name was Saliba. And then last name, Shehadeh. It's a family name. And this is pretty much how all Arabic names are structured, even for the girls. And this one was really shocking to me because like what I would expect as an American is that, okay, I understand the structure, okay, father, grandfather, last name, okay. But with women, I would expect that it would be chosen name, mother's first name, grandmother's first name, and then family name. But it's not. It's a very male-dominated culture. And so even the girls have their father's first name, their grandfather's first name, and their family last name. So all of Jawad's siblings, including his sister, their middle names are Yaqub Saliba. This was very interesting for me to experience as an expat initially. So, for example, I was in a car accident when I was in Jordan, and I was fine. It wasn't a big deal. But when the police came and wanted like my name, they wanted information about what happened, who was at fault, blah, blah, blah. They wanted my name and they wanted to see my passport as my primary form of identification. And so they look at my passport and my name is Sarah Ruth Pullen. Sarah was just a name my parents liked. Ruth was my grandmother's name, so it was a nice thing to do to name my middle name after my grandmother, and then my last name, family name, Pullen. But when the police saw my passport, they were so confused because they kept asking, what's your father's name? What's your father's name? And they're like, is Ruth is your father? I'm like, no, like my father has no part in my name. My name is Sarah Ruth Pullen. Ruth is not my father. You don't need to know my father's name. They're like, but what's your father's name? What's your grandfather's name? I'm like, his name's David. And my grandfather's name is James, but you don't need to know that because my name is not Sarah David James Pullen. Like, you don't need to know that. But when this happened, like, I was just so confused, and I was like, why do they keep asking about my father? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My name is Sarah Ruth Pullen. Write that down. That's it. That's it. And even when we got married, like, it was confusing for, like, all the documentation because they structure forms differently in Jordan for this same reason. Everybody does these name structures the same. And so the forms would say your first name, your father's name, your grandfather's name, your last name. And I'm like, this doesn't fit me. Like, okay, I'm going to put Ruth because that's my name, but it's not my father's name. This same dynamic caused some challenges for Jawad and I when we found out we were pregnant and we were thinking about names for our future children, especially before we had found out that Jacob was going to be a boy. We were discussing what to do if we had a girl. What name should we give her? Because my husband is so used to this name structure, and for him that's normal, like that's what everybody does. But we were planning to move to the US, and so he was saying like, I want to name my daughter like the same way that I would in Jordan. And I was like, we can't give an American girl the middle name Jawad Yaqub. She's gonna get picked on in the US. Like, we can't do that. To be honest, I still don't know what we're gonna do. This is an unsolved conversation for my husband and I that we will cross that bridge when we have a daughter. Thankfully, we had a boy first, so kicked that can down the road a little further. But thinking about even my son's name, his name technically, if you say it all in English pronunciation, is Jacob Jawad Jacob Shehadeh. It's kind of helpful that we threw the Arabic pronunciation in there because I feel like it gives it a little more variation, makes it more of an interesting name. This whole name dynamic was just very different and very interesting for me to kind of wrap my mind around when I first moved to Jordan, and now being married into a Jordanian family and thinking about names, just so fascinating. So if any of you are from a different culture and have interesting ways that you structure names, I would love to hear about that in the comments. If this was new for you and you had no idea, let me know what you think of this style of naming children. Tell me what you think of it. Would you do it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And until next time, bye!